What is up, Ravens Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Flock Talk. Today, we watched the Ravens pull off a hard-fought victory over the Tennessee Titans, a much better finish than we saw a week ago in Pittsburgh. But before we get into the breakdown, if you are a Ravens fan, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, help me grow this channel. That's all we talk about here is your Baltimore Ravens. So, thank you all so much. Now, today's game, there's a lot that I liked, some that I loved, and a lot that I disliked severely. Some would even call it hated, but we're going to start with what I loved here. And I can't say this, I cannot talk about what I loved without talking about how happy I am that Zay Flowers got his first touchdown in the NFL. So congrats to Zay. I know he's probably been chomping at the bit for that, waiting, wondering when it's going to happen. He made a nice play to get open while Lamar was scrambling around to get open for Lamar and made a nice play to get on the board. He also made a nice play in the 2-point conversion, but unfortunately that got called back. Anyways, congrats to Zay, and hopefully the first of many. Also, what I loved, the Ravens defense showed up. All right, if you look at the stats, they really manhandled Tennessee. So I'm going to read off some stats here to kind of prove that point here. Third down efficiency, they held the Tennessee Titans 1 for 9. Very, very good. Rushing yards, 129. Passing yards, 104. So 233 total yards. They also sacked Ryan Tannehill, and Malik Willis 6 times. That is massive. For a team that has struggled to get to the quarterback, big time, especially in that final drive. Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, they showed up. Clowney specifically with 2 big sacks there in the final drive, but 6 sacks in total. Massive, massive day for these guys. They also held them with only 24 minutes of possession time. So the Ravens statistically dominated. And stop me if this sounds familiar. They dominate through the stats, but they are unable to put the game away. And that's going to be reserved more for what I hate. But to me, another thing that I loved and was the MVP of the game, and there's one play that I think saved the game for the Baltimore Ravens. And I know that's a bold statement, and you can take that and say, well, every play is important, well, yada, yada, yada. I get that. The one play to me that saved this game, because it felt like it was spiraling out of control once again for John Harbaugh and these Ravens. Geno Stone with a massive interception at the end of the third quarter. Absolute game changer. That game felt like it was, like I said, spiraling out of control. The Ravens dominated the first half, went in the locker room. You couldn't. The biggest thing is that the red zone offense is the only thing you could point to in that first half, and that's big. But you were up 18-3 going into halftime. You're comfortable. Now again, the Ravens did what the Ravens do, and that's they cannot put teams away. That game again, similar to a lot of games, as they showed the graph on TV of all the blown leads, but the red zone offense was absolute cheeks. They had no problem getting into the red zone, but once they got inside the 10, it was done. The running game, done. And then we all know it's harder to pass the ball down there. Receivers, I don't think we're getting open. I couldn't, it's hard to see the whole field there, but it was bad. They need to work on that. The first few games of the season, they were really, really good. The last 2 weeks, they've been really, really bad. So this game, once again, stop me if this sounds familiar, should not have even been remotely close. And it wasn't in the first half. They go into the locker room 18-3. I was feeling good about it, minus, not converting touchdowns. And they come out, and what in the world does this team do at halftime? The defense did their thing, but offensively, they came out like a tame little puppy. What happened? Do they go in there okay, we're up by 15. This game's over, so we're just going to run the clock out now. What? They came out and just hand the ball off, try to throw on third down. They did the same thing against Cleveland. It's like they lose all their aggressiveness once they get a little bit of a lead. Hey, by the way, guys, you have the entire second half to play? what are we doing? Like, there's not 5 minutes left in the game up 15. There's 30 minutes of game time. Keep your foot on the gas and keep putting the ball downfield. We saw in the first half, there were some massive plays through the air from Odell Beckham, from Nelson Aguilar, and then they come out in the second half and it's like they just stop. Like, they're just going to run the clock out. Oh, we're just going to put this on the defense to carry us home. Well, thankfully, the defense did carry you home, because otherwise, between your red zone offense and then the play calling in the second half, I don't know what in the world they were thinking. Now, again, the defense it was the MVP of this game, and Geno Stone with that massive interception saved the game, because if he doesn't make that play, I don't believe the Ravens win this game. In fact, after Lamar threw that interception and they scored a touchdown and made it 18-13, and then they turned around and got a 3-and-out and got the ball back, I'm thinking it's happening again. It's happening again. We're going to see the Ravens choke another double-digit lead in the second half. And thankfully, Geno made a massive play on the ball and saved the day, truthfully, which allowed the Ravens to get another field goal and make it 21-13. And that was that. Squashing the momentum, and of course, Tannehill went out. It's a different day, but it's the same story for this Ravens team. This defense is fantastic. There's a reason they're second in scoring defense. They're really freaking good. But this offense, I mean, you got it. And part of that, you got to blame Harbaugh. Right, the second half they come out there and they get ultra conservative for some reason. And look, if you disagree with me, feel free to comment down below. And say, I don't know what you're talking about. They looked exactly the same play calling from the first to the second half. I didn't see it that way at all, and that's exactly what happened in Cleveland. We've seen it several times, but just this season, we saw that in Cleveland where they got a lead and they came out and just got ultra conservative. Now, that was a slightly different story because they were playing against a backup quarterback that had massively struggled that entire game. This was not. And as bad as the Titans offense has been, they still got Derrick Henry back there, who, as we saw in the blink of an eye, ripped off a 64-yard run. And next thing you know, the Titans are back in it. I don't understand why the Ravens do what the Ravens do in the second half. And it's not just me that thinks this way, because they showed the graph of all the blown leads. That is not a coincidence. That is I don't know, is that a mindset problem? Is it a coaching problem? Is it a play calling problem? I don't know what it is. But to me, it starts at the top, and Harbaugh's got to get it fixed. As you all know, if you've watched this channel any amount of time, I'm a fan of Harbaugh. I think he's a really good coach. However, all those blown leads in the second half is unacceptable. When you are leading the league or tied for first in fourth quarter blown leads, the second half double-digit blown leads, it's a problem. It is a you problem at that point. That's not a one-off, oh, well, this team just made some really nice plays and got back in the game. No. You do not know how to keep a lead. You do not know how to finish a game. And I don't know how much more I can listen to, and again, no disrespect to Harbaugh, how much more can we listen to him saying, oh, well, we just got to get better at closing out the game, and we're going to work on that. Bro, they showed the graph. This is going back 2 years. How long does it take? I mean, what are we waiting for? I don't get it. But at the end of the day, and I don't want to be too down, because they won the game. They did what they needed to do and stopped Tennessee's momentum and made enough plays to win the game, which is massive. That's not to be understated. That's the goal every single Sunday. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter if you win by 1, 3, 10, 50. The goal is to leave with a win, and they did that. So props to Baltimore. They hung in there and made some really nice plays when it mattered the most, and they won the game. So I credit them for that. I don't want to be ultra negative in this and be too critical. Now, going forward, it's not going to get any easier. You come home. They opted not to have the bye after this game. I don't really like that decision. Maybe we'll see. We'll see if it pays off, right? Only time will tell. They're playing a pretty good Lions team. This is not the Lions team that we've seen the last several years. This team looks very, very good, especially offensively. It's going to be a good test for Baltimore's defense. And of course, offensively, the Ravens just have to get out of their own way offensively. We'll see if they can do it. Hopefully, it is concerning they're coming back from London before this game. Like I said, I would prefer that they would have taken the bye, but we'll see. Maybe it'll pay off and Harbaugh will look like a genius. Or they won't. I don't know. But let me know what your guys' thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to know how you felt about this game. What do you think the Ravens most need to improve on going forward? As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. Help me grow this channel by liking the video and subscribing if you enjoy my content. And I will see you all in the next episode. Go Ravens.